Hello, hi, it's Carole Yu. Welcome to You Can Cook. I love all of you crew out there. Thanks for joining me. Today we are going to make wontons with spicy chili oil sauce. One of my favorite comfort foods. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the chili oil sauce. Okay, so let's turn on the stove and we're going to heat up some spices. So first we have chili flakes. Next, Sichuan peppercorns. Next, sesame seeds. So what you're going to do is we are going to heat those up. The heat helps to bring out the oils and it also helps to embolden the spices. It helps to open up the spices. It helps to open up your olfactory senses. It smells fantastic. Nutty, spicy. Now let me talk to you a little bit about the Sichuan peppercorns that are in here. Look at these, they're beautiful. They're kind of this pinky rosy red color. They are from Sichuan area. In the United States, they're also known as prickly ash. So these actually provide, versus the chili which has a kind of spicy taste on your tongue, these have a numbing, pleasurable numbing taste on your tongue. Now we're gonna put them into our mortar and pestle. So very carefully pour those in. Basically what we really want to do is make sure that the Sichuan peppercorns are ground up because the sesame seeds and the chili are already small enough. So the oil is hot. Okay, you can see that there are actually eddies and currents going around inside the oil. So once the oil is that hot, then we can take it off the heat and flash the spices with it. Now we're going to add the hot oil to the spices. Listen to that lovely sizzle. There's a difference between the spices that you get in the grocery store that have been sitting there for 2 years in the bottle versus the ones that we've just ground and we've put the oil in to make a chili oil sauce. So the spices, the flavors have been brought out from the toasting, and then by adding the oil, we now are flavoring the oil. Now we're gonna go on to the sauce. We're going to be putting in all of the other ingredients. We've got ginger and garlic. We've got sherry, rice vinegar, sesame oil, a little bit of sugar to make it, oh, that one's stuck. Little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness. We don't want the flavor to be too sweet. We just want it to be predominantly spicy and a little bit of sweetness and some soy sauce. So after you have all of those in there, you want to mix those together. In the meantime, we're letting the oil cool down. It's still pretty hot. If we mixed in this and put it in there, it would heat up the ginger and the garlic and cook it, and it might burn them, and we don't want burned flavors. Now that it's down to room temperature, we are going to pour the ginger garlic mixture into and with the oil mixture. This is a sauce that you can use not only for wontons, you could use it in bang bang chicken, sesame noodles, in congee. There you go. It's a multi-purpose sauce that you can use in a lot of different ways. I put it in the mason jar because it does have the ginger and garlic in it. And so by having a sealed container, you can keep it in the fridge for 2 to 3 weeks or so. Okay, now on to the wontons, the star of this dish. So what we have is we have a bunch of different kinds of ingredients and we're just gonna throw them all in the bowl and mix them up. Now, when I was growing up, there's pork, there's shrimp. When I was growing up, my mom made wontons for special occasions. We've got ginger, we've got green onions. My dad was the chairman of the math department, water chestnuts, and he would have faculty dinners. Those are dried shiitake mushrooms that have been rehydrated. Let me show you. Take a look at these mushrooms. This is what we're going to do with them. They're shiitake mushrooms. You have to rehydrate them. They're dry, they're crunchy. So what you do is you put them in a bowl that can be microwaved And I used 6 in this recipe, and I put them in the bowl, fill the bowl with water to the top of the mushrooms, and I zap them for 3 minutes. And then after that, I put a lid on top of the bowl so that the water can be absorbed up into the mushrooms. Next we have pepper. We have sugar. Oh, got stuck. We've got sugar. We've got salt. Wait, these guys are stuck. They're like, no, we don't want to be eaten. Okay, and then we have got Shaoxing wine, which is a special kind of Chinese cooking wine. You can actually use sherry if you have it. Another sesame oil to make it nutty and fragrant. Now, cornstarch actually helps to bind all of the ingredients together. We've got soy sauce. Put it all together, and let me finish up with my story. So my dad was a math professor at Notre Dame, and often he was, actually 2 or 3 times when I was growing up, he was the chairman of the department. And so my mom would make these wontons whenever we had a whole faculty dinner. We would have maybe 20 people come over to our house, and my sisters and I, we would actually sit in the attached living room, and we would sit and listen to all of the things they were talking about. But you know what? Most of the things they were talking about were math equations. So anyway, so wontons are the memory that I have from when my mom would make, and she would make deep fried wontons. In this case, my favorite is boiled wontons with spicy chili sauce because they're actually easier than having to deep fry. There is a Chinese tradition, you actually have to stir it in one direction. See how it was all separate? But now as I stir it, it actually is starting to come together. The proteins start to break down a bit and they start to gel and be able to come together. That will create a more tender meat that will stay together in the wontons. Okay, now that this has been stirred enough, it's getting a little bit harder to stir because the proteins are actually sticking together. So I've got some mushroom water here. This is the mushroom water that I use to rehydrate the shiitakes. So what I did is after I squeezed out the mushrooms with the water and I put it through a colander to get rid of any of the sediment. And so now this is just a pure mushroom water. So that's going to provide umami to the flavor of the filling. So we're going to add some of this to our mixture. Okay, but you stir again until it mixes and stays together a bit. Now for the fun part. We're going to fold the wontons. For those of you who love folding laundry, this is your game. We've got the filling, we've got a bowl of water, we've got a dampened dishcloth, and underneath, to keep it moist, are the wonton skins. Wonton skins can be found at most grocery stores nowadays. So put a dab of the meat, 1 to 2 teaspoons in the middle. Make sure you have 1/2 inch around the edge that you dampen on 2 sides. Now you want to squeeze the air out so that they don't burst, and then pinch the edges together. Now take another finger and put some water on a corner, and then you want to have them hug each other. See, there you've got a nice little hug of a wonton. So once you have the wonton folded, you can put it on a parchment-lined tray. And now we have another dampened towel that we want to put over to keep them from cracking. Let's take another look from above. Little dollop in the middle. Put water on 2 edges, fold it together, squeeze out the air while you pinch the edges together. Put water on 1 corner, fold it around so it hugs itself and makes a beautiful little dumpling. Now we're ready to boil the wontons. I've got some boiling water here. Drop the wontons in carefully. Don't overcrowd the pan, and they'll let you know when they're ready. I'm just doing 10 right now because I'm just gonna do 2 bowls, and the rest of the wontons can actually be the whole tray can be put into the freezer, because there's no way we're gonna eat 50 wontons in one go, just my husband and me. So you put them in the freezer. When they're frozen, then you can take them out and put them into a Ziploc bag. The pork and the shrimp were raw, so you really wanna make sure that they cook in the middle, and it is going to be done when they pop up. So as you can see, they're starting to come up and they're floating, so they're ready. So you can take them out with a spider like this. Let the water jiggle off. I'm gonna put them into my bowl. And then next I'll show you how we plate them up with the chili sauce. Now it's time to plate our wontons. So typically, if you go to a place like Din Tai Fung, which is one of my favorite places to get these wontons with spicy chili sauce, they'll give you 5 to 7 per dish. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna put 5 in, and then we're going to top it with chili sauce and green onions. So here we've got the chili sauce. Doesn't that look great? All right. And of course, we've got the shiflets. Oh, sorry, siflets. Remember if you look at the last episode, which you'll be able to see if you connect to the card, which I'm gonna connect here, you'll see how to cut these green onions into siflets. Sprinkle some of those on. And there you go for a really beautiful dish. Let's try them. Got on my purple chopsticks. First, I smell the sesame oil. It's got a real rich smell from that. You've got the umami from the mushrooms and the soy. It's got a spicy smell from the chilies and from the Sichuan. So let's take a bite. It's crispy from the chili sauce. Oh, it's spicy. And you've got the tenderness of the shrimp. The mushroom has an umami. It really mixes well together and is super delicious. You'll have to try this. You'll have to let me know what you think. Post it on Instagram with #YouCanCook. Remember to subscribe and follow. Ring that bell for the next, click on that bell for the next episode. And I hope you enjoy these wontons with spicy chili sauce. Thank you, bye.